So in the last session, so we performed postmortem on dot equals method. Almost 3 hours around we spent only on dot equals method, right? Now let me start the cinema of what the next one? Clone. Clone is the method. Clone method. So what is cloning? Very popular word. Instead of the method and name, very popular word. What is clone? Cloning. So it's a very common word. Cloned baby or cloned animal cloned cat, cloned rat, like we may have. Okay, this what is cloning? So exactly Xerox copy. I want to create exactly Xerox copy of a person. Okay, this is nothing but cloning. Okay, do you know, whenever in almost late 1990s, 1990, almost before 2000 around, whenever the worldwide scientists so identified or discovered cloning concept, then entire world felt a bit happy because exactly same Xerox copy we can able to create. It's something like miracle. Regarding something like miracle, like cloning concept came now. So exactly 10 Katrina Kaifs we can able to create, or 10 Shah Rukh Khans we can able to create, like now no problem at all, like so entire world felt a bit happy because of cloning concept. Then so the scientists analyzed positives and negatives, then automatically the disadvantages are more than advantages because of cloning. Suppose here best example, so in the English movies or Telugu movies you may have this type of thing. Suppose if the cloning is possible on the human being, if it is possible, then automatically I can create my own Narendra Modi, regarding my own PM, and I will place this person in the PM's place. Then so it's nothing but original person will be gone. Now my person is going to act based on my requirement. In the Telugu movies or in Bollywood movies, this type of terminology is there. So actually characters will be replaced. One person, original person is going to be kidnapped, and this clone person by default will be there. Now he is going to act according to our requirement, right? Best example, very recently it came Billa or something like very same concept, right? Okay, this original person gone, now duplicate person will be there. He is going to act as a don. Okay, this is going to act as a don to provide the information to the policeman. Is nothing but like the same. So advantages, disadvantages are more than advantages. That's why worldwide scientists is nothing but worldwide governments decided cloning on the human being. Cloning on the human being is a banned terminology. If anyone is going to perform cloning on the human being, then punishment itself is nothing but punishment to the scientist. Is nothing but hanging is the punishment to the scientist. Like is nothing but cloning on the human being itself is nothing but banned terminology, right? Okay, this is. But not required to worry. Cloning on Java object is illegal. Okay, this don't feel cloning on Java object is illegal. Cloning on Java object itself is nothing but legal, not required to worry. So what is cloning? The process of creating exactly duplicate object. The process of creating exactly duplicate object is called cloning. Is it clear, right? So what is called cloning? The process of creating exactly duplicate object. This process of creating exactly duplication is nothing but what? Cloning, right? Is it clear for all of you, right? Now, how we can perform cloning? What is the purpose of cloning? The main purpose of cloning. Can I spell out what is the purpose of cloning? I want to perform cloning. Okay, why? What is the need of cloning? Best example. Suppose you wrote SCJP notes very neatly with 2 or 3 color pens. Is nothing but you took you took very much care while writing the notes. Then automatically you may feel a bit happy by seeing your notes. Sometimes because if the faculty is giving the notes properly, then definitely there should be some interest on the notes, obviously, right? Each and every point, because running notes the people may not give that much interest. So then you saw this SCJP notes is too good, sir is giving each and every point, like you may feel. Then after completing total course, almost 600-700 pages notes by default will be there. What most of the people are going to do, if this book gone, then automatically may be a big problem for us. That's why what some people what they did is, old students, they took the Xerox copy, Original copy they will save there somewhere. Original copy they will save and they will run the show with Xerox copy only. Okay, this. So what is the advantage is, if this Xerox copy gone, if this duplicate copy gone, then automatically there is no problem at all. Happily we can run the show with the original book. Okay, we can take another Xerox and we can run. So it is always safe. Okay, have you observed? The main purpose of maintaining duplicate copy is a backup purpose. Correct or not? Backup. If something goes wrong, original copy is there with us, another copy is there with us. Happily we can able to recover the situation. Right? Most of the people, sometime driving license compulsory we require to keep in our pocket, otherwise traffic police is going to stop. Where is the license? It may be the problem. How many students in the classroom, maintaining original copy of license, maintaining original copy? How many people are maintaining original copy of license in your pocket? Okay, never. Are you getting? Not recommended also. If anyone doing, don't do that. What you have to do, take the color Xerox, and then you have to take the color Xerox, and then what you have to do is nothing but you have to maintain that color Xerox copy. If something goes wrong, no problem at all. Happily original copy is there in the secured place. Happily you can. How many people are maintaining original copy of PAN card? There are several people. PAN card, driving license, next voter ID. Are you getting? Voter ID. These kind of things never recommended to maintain original copies in our packet. Are you getting that? Compulsory we should run with Xerox copies, color Xerox copies. Of course, color Xerox original, they may not much difference. Okay, this is not required to worry. Happily you can. Certificates only performing color Xerox. Then small these cards performing cloning is nothing but what is the problem? Are you getting right? So make sure. Very important terminology. What is the main purpose of cloning? To maintain backup copy. Sir, I got one object, okay, with very risky operation. I got one object with very risky operation. I got this object, right? Now, so I can't perform any operation on this object directly, because if something goes wrong, how I can recover the situation? Okay, that's why what the people is nothing but did is, once I got this object, immediately I can create exactly another duplicate copy. I can create duplicate copy. So exactly duplicate copy. If something goes wrong, I will perform operations confidently on this object. If something goes wrong, no problem at all. Happily I can able to recover by using original object. The main purpose of cloning is to maintain backup copy. One thing. Second thing, sir, this original state I have to preserve. Original state I have to save. Maybe in the future is nothing but so I am performing some updates. And based on this updated value, these updated values I have to compare with the original values. Are you getting? So if I am performing operations on original object, then where I can compare with the original values. That's why to preserve state of an object, is nothing but which thing must be required is nothing but cloning must be required. Are you able to understand? To preserve state of an object, which thing must be required is nothing but cloning. So sir, once I got an object, then I will create exactly duplicate copy, perform operations. Now these updated values I have to compare with the original values, right? Is it possible or not? Yes. If all operations I performed on original object only, then to where my initial values are there is always a problem or not? That's why, so to preserve a state of an object, cloning must be required. Are you getting? To maintain backup copy, cloning must be required. Is it clear for all of you? So can you tell what is the purpose of cloning? The main purpose of cloning is to maintain backup copy and to preserve a state of an object at a particular instant. Is nothing but boss, preserve original state. Because I want these original values to compare with updated values in later point of time. That's why then we should go for which concept is cloning concept. Is it clear? 2 points just we covered on. What is cloning? The process of creating exactly duplicate object is nothing but what? Cloning. The process of creating exactly duplicate object is called cloning. What is the purpose of cloning? To maintain backup copy, and to preserve a state of an object. Then we should go for cloning concept. Okay, second point also clear. How we can perform cloning? By using which method? Clone method. Clone method present way. Clone method present in which class? Object class. We are discussing object class methods only. Clone method present where? In object class. Okay, this. So what is complete prototype of clone method? Because that thing must be important for you people. Can I explain what is the complete prototype of clone method? Complete prototype of clone method. What is the complete prototype of clone method? Here see. So it is protected method. It is the protected method, and then what the next one? That it is a native method. Protected method. It is a native method. The return type itself is nothing but protected native. Object is the return type. Next, clone itself is a method name. Throws clone not supported exception. Like okay, this is what you people should aware, right? Sir, what is complete prototype? Complete prototype clone method is nothing but it's a protected method, not implemented in Java native method. The return type of clone method is object. And if clone is not supported, in which case clone is not going to support, I will explain, not required to worry. Throws clone not supported exception. This is by using this method, happily we can perform cloning, right? Any explanation is required, Anna? So what is cloning? What is the purpose of cloning? How we can perform cloning? By using which method? Next I will explain this concept with a program so that you people can aware, right? Okay, at this point. The process of creating exactly duplicate object. The process of creating exactly duplicate object. Creating exactly duplicate object. The process of creating exactly duplicate object is called cloning. The process of creating exactly duplicate object is called cloning. Next, the main next point. The main purpose of cloning is to maintain backup copy. Is to maintain backup copy and to preserve state of an object. State of an object. Okay, this is. So second point is the clear. Next, for which purpose we can use a clone method? Are you getting? How we can perform cloning? By using which method? Clone method of object class. Add. We can perform cloning. By using clone method of object class. We can perform cloning by using clone method of object class. Clone method of object class. Compulsory you have to take complete signature. Protected native object. Clone. Protected native object clone. Throws clone not supported exception. Clone not supported exception. That's all. Are you able to understand that? Okay, this is. So make sure. Okay, what is the purpose of cloning? Okay, this is, I mean, and how we can perform cloning by using which method like. Okay. Now let me go for a simple program. How we can implement cloning? Here just observe a bit carefully. Here I am taking class test. Here int I is equal to 10, int j is equal to 20. Now listen carefully, because there are several things we require to talk in this example. Int I is equal to 10, int j is equal to 20. Sir, public static void main method string array args. Public static void main string array args. Now my target here is, sir, I am creating tester t1 is equal to new tester. I created one test object, right? Sir, tester t1 is equal to new test, like I created one test object, right? Okay, this is my test object. T1 is the reference variable. I value is the 10, j value is the 20. I is the 10, j is the 20. Now what my target, tester t1 is equal to new tester. I is the 10, j is the 20. Now my target is, sir, I want to create duplicate copy, because I want to perform some operations. I want to create duplicate copy, and I require to maintain original copy as it is. Regarding I require to maintain original copy as it is, I want to duplicate copy to perform some updates. Okay, like what I will do, tester t2 is equal to t1. Tester t2 is equal to t1. Sir, can you tell, is it called cloning? No. Is it called cloning? No. If I can take tester t2 is equal to t1, immediately the problem is going to get, sir, we are creating duplicate reference variable, but not to duplicate. Okay. By using this, if I perform any operation, those changes will be reflected to the t1 also. Where is the question of maintaining backup copy? Is always a problem or not? Okay, this is, that's why, sir, creating duplicate reference variable is not cloning. Okay, this is creating duplicate object is called cloning. Observe the difference, right? Creating duplicate object itself is called cloning, not duplicate reference variable, right? Now what we have to do, sir, I don't want this one. I don't want this. Sir, I want exactly duplicate object. Sir, I want exactly duplicate object. I value should be 10, j value should be 20. Okay, how you can do is nothing but tester t2 is equal to t1 dot clone method, right? Okay, legend, small changes must be required. I will talk at last. Tester t2 is equal to t1 dot clone method. Now I created exactly duplicate object with I and j. Now let me perform some changes. t1 dot I is equal to 888. Sorry, t2 dot I is equal to 888. t2 dot j is equal to 999. t2 dot I 888, t2 dot j is equal to 999. Can you tell where the changes will be performed? Here 888, here it will become what? 999, right? Okay, now I am taking system dot out dot println. Okay, t1 dot I dot t1 dot j. t1 dot I dot t1 dot j. Can you tell what the answer by default you are going to get? 10 followed by 20. My original state always same, even though we perform some updates, right? Is it clear? The process of creating exactly duplicate object is nothing but what? Cloning, right? Okay, this is create duplicate object, perform whatever operations you require, still my original state is always there with me. If something goes wrong, I can able to recover the situation. At any point of time, updated values I can compare with original values, right? So it's nothing but cloning. How you can perform is nothing but like, any explanation is required up to this, right? Okay, clear. But make sure here there are some small additions required to compile this code properly. Can you tell what changes we require? Correct? What changes are required? Okay, skeleton is the same, small changes must be required. Can you tell which changes are required? Yeah, implements, clonable. First, observe this one. The return type of clone method is object, not a tester. Regarding object. So for parent type object, child reference we can't use. If I can use like this, compile method saying incompatible type found object required tester like. Sir, I don't want. Then what I have to do? Compulsory we should perform what? Type casting, right? Okay, sir. Tester t2 is equal to test t1 dot clone method. Okay, typecasting must be required. Sir, if you are not performing typecasting, sir, I don't want to perform typecasting. What will happen is compile time error you are going to get. Are you getting incompatible time? Found java.lang.object required is nothing but what? Test compile time error, right? Okay, this is. Next, second problem. Clone method throws what exception? Clone not supported exception. Clone not supported exception is the checked exception or unchecked exception? Checked exception. Wherever throws is there, predefined methods, wherever throws is there, checked exception only. So if it is a checked exception, compulsory we should handle either by try catch or by throws keyword. That's why boss, I'm not interested to handle. That's why let me take throws clone not supported exception. Clone not supported exception. Throws clone not supported exception is nothing but if you are not going to take compile time error, right? Unreported exception, java.lang.clone not supported exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. That is the exact compile time error we will get. Are you able to understand? Second, okay, this is change. Any other change is required to compile this code? Is the code is going to compile? Okay. Is it going to compile? Yes or no? No. Yes. Is it going to compile? Why? What is the problem? Clone is protected, no problem. In the child classes you can call. What is the problem? Protected methods happily available within the current package anywhere, but outside package in child classes. So outside package in child class. Test is the child of object only. No problem with respect to access. Can you tell if the code is going to compile or not? How many people are feeling yes sir, the code compiles fine? Or sir, the code won't compile? How many people are feeling? For both no response. Okay, make sure. If I can ask compiler, can you please compile my code? Immediately compiler is going to tell, Durga, I can compile, no problem at all. Okay, happily the code compiles fine, there is no problem at all. Even though we didn't implement clonable. Are you getting that? Okay, you people may have the big doubt. Sir, if you want to call a clone method on any object, compulsory that object should be clonable object. Okay, when we say that an object is said to be clonable, if and only if the corresponding class implements clonable. Okay, if the corresponding class doesn't implement clonable but still we are performing cloning, then we will get runtime exception saying clone not supported exception. We will get runtime exception saying clone not supported exception. Clone not supported exception. But there is no compile time error, make sure. Sir, the code compiles fine, but at runtime we are going to get this exception, right? Are you getting? So to overcome this problem, class test implements what? Clonable. Implements clonable. If I am not taking this one, what will happen is runtime exception by default we are going to get. Are you getting right? Here compile time error, there compile time error, but here runtime exception, right? Okay, this is. But clonable interface contains how many methods? Clonable interface contain how many methods? No method. That's why it is a marker interface, right? Okay, this is. Don't feel, sir, clonable contain clone method. Clonable contain clone method because runnable contain run method. Runnable interface contain run method. Automatically clonable interface contain clone method. No. Clone method present in object class but not in clonable interface. Clonable interface doesn't contain any methods. It is a marker interface, right? Are you able to understand how we can perform cloning? While performing clone or while using clone method, how many things we have to take care? Compile time error. So compulsory typecasting, throws keyword must be required. Next and after that implements clonable. Two compile time errors, one runtime exception. There is a possibility if you are using clone method. Any explanation is required, Anna? Let me show these compile time errors under this example. That here see this point well. One minute, will come in. A subjoin Here let me take this example, right? Here what I'm taking, same example, just observe, don't write. Here see, class test, here see, int I is equal to 10, int j is equal to 20 I'm taking. Next here tester t1 is equal to new tester, tester t1 is equal to new tester, tester t2 is equal to t1 dot which method? T1 dot clone method. Of course I want to show those comparative methods also, okay, so that we can correct. Next t2 dot I is equal to 888 I'm taking, t2 dot j is equal to 999 I'm taking. Next system dot out dot println of t1 dot I plus dot plus t1 dot j, like this I'm taking. Are you getting? So same basic skeleton, but here there are some comparative errors are there, some runtime exceptions are there. Let me save this code here, test.java. Okay, now observe this one. Here I'm taking, yes, okay, Java C test.java. First, which comparative error we are going to get? Just let me, yes, here have you observed what comparative error? Incompatible type found java.lang.object required is nothing but a tester, like comparative error we are getting, found object required tester. Now how you can do that is nothing but compulsory you have to perform what? Typecasting. Okay, like if I perform typecasting, another comparative error will come because of throws keyword, you know. Now let me compile this code. Have you observed unreported exception? Java.lang.clone not supported exception. Have you observed unreported exception? Java.lang.clone not supported exception must be caught or declared to be thrown is nothing but like comparative error we are getting. Then what we have to do? Throws clone not supported exception, like single word, don't give space in the middle, clone not supported exception x class name, right? Okay, now can you tell either code is going to compile or not? Either code is going to compile or not? Yes, implements clonable even though we are not writing, no problem, because it is a runtime exception but not compile time error. Happily the code compiles fine. Have you observed, right? Okay, this way. Now Java tester, is it going to run? No, at runtime we are going to get exception in the thread main java.lang.clone not supported exception colon tester. Are you getting? Java.lang.clone not supported exception colon tester, like this one. So class tester implements what? Clonable. Okay, if I can do like this, happily the code compiles fine, runs fine. And the clonable interface contain how many methods? No method. It is what? Marker interface, right? Okay, now observe, the code compiles and what is the output? By default we are going to get 1020. Any explanation is required now? Okay, that's all. Make sure how you can perform cloning. While performing cloning, how many things we have to take care is nothing but clear for you people. Okay, take this example on. Take this example. The required theory anyway I will add. Take clearly this example. Class test implements clonable. Int I is equal to 10, int j is equal to 20. Public static void main string array args throws clone not supported exception. Test of tt is equal to test of t1 dot clone. Take clearly. Last test implements clonable. Int I is equal to 10, int j is equal to 20. Public static void main string array args throws clone not supported exception, like tester t1 is equal to new tester t2 is equal to test of t1 dot clone method t2 dot I is equal to 888, t2 dot j is equal to 999, t2 dot I 888, t2 dot j 999. Completed, right? Next t1 dot I dot t1 dot j. So 10 followed by 20 we are having. Completed the terminology, right? Okay. So better to take the diagrams also compulsory. T1, T2 like. And compile time error, but this one is what? Runtime exception. So completed, right? Now add the theory. We can perform cloning. We can perform cloning. We can perform cloning. We can perform cloning only for clonable objects. We can perform cloning only for clonable objects. Only for clonable objects. We can perform cloning only for clonable objects. Only for clonable objects. Next one. An object is said to be clonable. An object is said to be clonable. An object is said to be clonable. If and only if. An object is said to be clonable if and only if. If and only if the corresponding class. If and only if the corresponding class implements. If and only if the corresponding class implements. Now, if and only if the corresponding class implements clonable interface. The corresponding class implements clonable interface. Clonable interface. Next, do you know clonable interface present in which package? Java.lang package. Clonable interface present in Java.lang package, and it doesn't contain any methods. So it is a marker interface, right? Serializable present in IO, but clonable present in Java.lang package only. Add clonable interface present in clonable interface present in Java.lang package. Clonable present in Java.lang package. Java.lang package, and it doesn't contain any methods. And it doesn't contain any methods. And it doesn't contain any methods. It is a marker interface. It is a marker interface. It's a marker interface. Next up, if we are trying to perform cloning, if we are trying to perform cloning for non-clonable objects, if we are trying to perform cloning for non-clonable then we will get runtime exception saying. What that exception? Clone not supported exception. Then we will get runtime exception saying clone not supported exception. Clone not supported exception. Okay, that's all. So are you able to understand, right? So what is cloning? For which purpose we can perform cloning is nothing but make sure you people should have clear clarity. Any explanation is required now? Okay, this is next. Here up to this everyone aware, but the next terminology very rare, is nothing but just observe, very less number of people aware the next advanced terminology related to clone method. There are two concepts are there named with shallow cloning and deep cloning. Are you getting? Shallow cloning, deep cloning, like there are two concepts are there. Can you spell out what is shallow cloning and what is deep cloning? And whatever the cloning we performed here, object class clone method, performing shallow cloning or deep cloning? Have you observed? What is the difference between shallow cloning, shallow, not shadow, shallow cloning, and deep cloning? What is the difference? And the object class clone method performs which cloning? Compulsory you people should have clarity. Okay, so keep subheading shallow cloning shallow cloning versus deep cloning. 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 Deep cloning, like, are you getting? So what is shallow cloning and what is the deep cloning? You people should aware clearly, right? Sir, here just observe, I have one object is there. Let me talk about both. First you have to get the basic idea, then the remaining things you can very easily understand. So here just observe, I have one object is there. Make sure you should aware clearly. I have one dog object is there. I have one dog object is there, dog d1. This dog object contain one primitive value 10 is there. Dog object contain one instance variable, of course point one instance variable I and c, point into cat object. Here j is equal to 20 is there. Are you getting? Now dog object contain how many instance variable? Two instance variable. One is primitive variable, the other one is reference variable. This variable is of what type? Cat type. Okay, sure. Now on this dog object I want to call clone method. Now observe dog, here just have a look. Here I want to call dog d2 is equal to dog of d1 dot clone method. Are you getting? Dog d2 is equal to dog of d1 dot clone. Sir, I am trying to perform cloning on this object. Can you tell what will be the result? What will be the result if I can perform cloning? Now here see, the process of creating exactly duplicate object is nothing but cloning. Now a separate dog object will be created. Okay, separate dog object will be created. Okay, if the original object contain primitive variables, a separate copy of primitive variable will be created. I use the 10 separate primitive variable. If the original object contain reference variable, SSC, this one is contained object. Are you getting? Contained object like. So if the original object contain any reference variable, then don't feel a separate contained object will be created. No, just a duplicate reference variable will be created pointing to old object only. Are you getting? Just if the original object contain any reference variable, then is nothing but, so duplicate contained object won't be created, duplicate reference variable will be created pointing to old object only. This type of cloning is called shallow cloning. Are you able to understand that? This type of cloning is called what? Shallow cloning, right? And this copy is called bitwise copy. It is also known as bitwise copy of original object. Okay, so contained object are not creating duplicate object. Is nothing but this copy by default considered as bitwise copy of original object, right? Any explanation is required up to this now? Okay, this is. So now just let me go for second terminology or the second example, right? Sir, I have an object here. I have an object is there, d1 is the reference variable, dog object is there, d1, I value is a 10, I value itself is the 10, and it contains instance variable c, point into this one is nothing but same. Sir, here in shallow cloning there is a problem. Have you observed? By using cloned object, if I perform any change here, automatically that change will be reflected to the main object or not? Yes. By using main object reference, if we are trying to perform any change to the contained object, automatically these changes will be reflected to the cloned object or not? Yes. So it is not complete duplication. Up to certain level only duplication we are getting. This type of cloning there is a problem is there. Sir, even for the contained object also, I want duplicate object. I want duplicate, complete duplication I want. No way dependency on original object. Then we should go for which cloning? Deep cloning, right? Are you getting? Now, here if I call clone method. Sir, dog d2 is equal to dog of d1 dot clone method. If I can take like this, d1 dot clone method. Now, what will happen is, so exactly duplicate copy will be created. D2, what is the value na? 10. What is the value? 10. And the C is there. C is a point into right. C is there and pointing to a different object, right? Complete duplication. No way dependency on original object. This type of cloning is by default considered as what? Deep cloning, right? If any person can ask, what is shallow cloning? What is a deep cloning? Now I hope now you got a bit clarity. Okay, this say, sir, the process of creating bitwise copy of an object is called shallow cloning. What is the bitwise copy is, if original object contain any primitive variable, duplicate copies will be created in the cloned object. If the original object contain any reference variable, just a duplicate reference variable will be created, but not contained object. Are getting old contained object only pointing to this one. Is it clear? But in the case of deep cloning, complete duplication we are going to do. This thing is nothing but what? Deep cloning, right? Any explanation is required? But I have one big doubt. Sir, here you call clone, there also you call clone method only. Then how you can differentiate this? Object class clone method. Object class clone method meant for shallow cloning or deep cloning? Object class clone method meant for shallow or deep cloning? Meant for shallow cloning only. Object class clone method is responsible like this. Or I don't want that bloody shallow cloning, because there is a problem in the shallow cloning. I want a deep cloning. If you want a deep cloning, what we have to do is nothing but we have to override clone method. We are responsible to implement cloning, right? Okay, this is so object class clone method meant for what? Shallow cloning. If I don't want shallow cloning, if you want to deep cloning, then we have to override clone method and we are responsible to implement this one. Is it clear for all of you? Right? That part I will explain anyway, right? Okay, take this part. Take these diagrams first. Shallow cloning, deep cloning. First you have to get the basic idea and then we will discuss theory, program, all these things. First at the first snap you have to get the basic idea first. Take clearly the diagrams. Take end conditions also. Take special care, not that much easy. Okay, most of the people doesn't aware this terminology, I'm sure. So shallow cloning, deep cloning, you people should have clear clarity. Clear, right? So take clearly. Make sure you people should have clarity. Shallow cloning, deep cloning, like shallow cloning and deep cloning. Okay, completed, right? Okay, now keep subheading shallow cloning, shallow cloning, shallow cloning. Okay, now here see, this process, the process of creating bitwise copy of an object is called shallow cloning. What is the meaning of bitwise copy? Primitive variables, duplicates, reference variable, same duplicate reference variable pointing to the old object is nothing but this process is bitwise copy. It is called bitwise copy of an object. Add the process of creating bitwise copy, the process of creating bitwise copy of an object, bitwise copy of an object, the process of creating bitwise copy of an object is called shallow cloning. The process of creating bitwise copy of an object is called shallow cloning, shallow cloning. Okay, next, if the main object contain primitive variables, if the main object contain primitive variables, if the main object contain primitive variables, then exactly duplicate copies will be created. Exactly duplicate copies will be created in the cloned object. Exactly duplicate copies will be created in the cloned object, in the cloned object. Next, if the main object contain any reference variable, if the main object contain any reference variable, an object contain any reference variable, then corresponding object won't be created. Just duplicate reference variable will be created. Duplicate reference variable will be created pointing to old contained object, Okay, that's all. Are you getting that? What is shallow cloning? Object class clone method meant for what? Object class clone method meant for what? Shallow cloning. Add object class clone method meant for shallow cloning. Object class clone method meant for shallow cloning. Okay, that's all. Any explanation is required? Now let me explain shallow cloning with an example. Are you getting? Sir, can you please write a program so that we can get much clarity, like you people may feel? Just observe. I am taking same example, class cat. I am taking class cat. Okay. Here int j is there. Have you observed in our diagram also? Cat contains j. Next, cat of int j. This dot j is equal to j. What is this one? Constructor. Okay, whenever we are creating cat object, I will provide this value. Now, what is the next one here is class dog implements clonable. Class dog implements clonable. Okay. Here I am taking int I. Here see, cat c is there. Cat c is there, and int I is also there. Cat c is there. Int I is equal to I is there. So dog of cat c, comma int I. Sir, dog class contain how many variables? Two variables. One is primitive variable, the other one is what? Reference variable. Both are instance variables, right? Now, this dot c is equal to c. This dot I is equal to I. Dog of cat c, like, okay. Now the point is public, okay. What is the object? I am trying to override public object, clone method, public object, clone method, throws a clone not supported exception. Clone not supported exception. Just here, I won't do much code. Just only one line I will add. What is that? That line here is return super dot clone method. Okay, I am calling object class clone method only. Is nothing but like end of this method and then end of the dot class. Are you getting that? Okay, this is. Now I hope you people can aware clearly that. Okay. So what is cat class and dog class? Cat class contain one instance variable j. Cat class dog class contain how many instance variable? Two instance variable, cat and I. Is nothing but like we have this terminology, right? I hope up to this there is no doubt at all. Okay. Now the next one. Let me go for. Okay. Let me create an object and let me perform cloning. Okay. Here see. Just here this is my now class shallow cloning demo. Class shallow cloning demo. Okay. Public static void main method string array args throws clone not supported exception. You can able to understand clone not supported exception. Okay, like first step, I want to create a dog object, but to create a dog object compulsory cat object must be required. That's why what I am doing, cat c is equal to new cat of what is the j value 20 cat. So in our diagram what is the j value I assign 20. Next dog d1 is equal to new dog of c comma 10. So this cat object is the reference variable, 10 is the value of I. Is nothing but like. Sir, up to this, if our diagram looks like how the diagram looks like is here, do you know, this is d1 object, I value is nothing but what? 10, and the c pointing to cat object, what is the j value? 20. Up to this completed, right? Now the next word, I want to perform cloning. Now can you tell what is the code? Dog d2 is equal to dog d2 is equal to dog of d1 dot clone method, right? d1 dot clone method. Sir, I am calling dog class clone method, our clone method. Within that I am calling which clone method? Superclass clone. Which is the superclass for a dog? Object. Object class clone method meant for what? Shallow cloning. Correct or not? Now here, do you know what will happen is exactly duplicate object d2 got created, and if the original object contain primitive variable, then what will happen? So duplicate copy of primitive variable got created. If the original object contain reference variable, what will happen? Yeah, a duplicate reference variable will be created pointing to the same object. Okay, this is. Can I use the term? Is it complete duplication? No, because there is a dependency still with the original object. Now I will show that dependency also. Now my target here is observe this one. Sir, this is the clone method what we are doing. Now I am taking. So d2 dot I is equal to 888 like this I am taking. d2 dot I is equal to 888. d2 dot c dot j is equal to 999 I am taking. Have you observed? d2 dot I is equal to 888. Now this one will be gone. 888 is the answer. d2 dot c dot j. Which one is the d2 dot c dot j? d2 dot c dot j is equal to this one gone 999. Are you getting 999? Now after this, let me print system dot out dot println d1 dot I dot 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 d1 dot c dot j. So d1 dot I dot 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 d1 dot c dot j. d1 dot I, what is the value? d1 dot I, what is the value? 10. Okay, this is the value is 10. And d1 dot c dot j, what is the answer? 999. d1 dot c dot j, 999 is nothing but like you people should aware. End of this one, end of the code. Are you getting? Can you tell, is this a duplication? Is it recommended or not recommended? Is it exact duplication? No. Because by using cloned object, if we perform any change, automatically that change will be reflected to the main object. That's why shallow cloning is not at all recommended cloning. Is it clear? Sir, I don't want shallow cloning, I want deep cloning. Then how you can implement that part I will explain. Are you getting? In this case, which clone method got executed final? Object class clone method. That's why which is meant for what? Shallow cloning. Let me execute this code. Here see. Here observe. Let me go for one simple example. Here 1 minute. See this one. Class cat int j, cat of int j like. Class dog implements clonable. Cat c constructors. Next public object clone return. So per dot clone. Okay. Next class shallow cloning. Public static void main. Cat c is equal to new cat of 20. Dog d1 is equal to new dog of c comma 10. Sir, first, what is the values of I and j? First, d1 dot I, d1 dot c dot j. What is the answer? 10 followed by 20. 10, 20. At the beginning, if I print here, 1 minute. If I print SOP of d1 dot I dot 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 d1 dot c dot j. What is the answer? 10, 20. By default, we are going to get 10, 20, right? Now, after performing cloning, dog d2 is equal to dog of d1 dot clone, d2 dot I is equal to 888, d1 dot I, d1 dot c dot j. Sir, original values 10, 20, but suddenly after calling clone method, same main object values only, but now you are going to get the values are 10 followed by what? 999. Here see, Java C, shallow cloning demo.java. Shallow cloning .java. Next, Java shallow cloning. Okay, Java shallow cloning like. Sir, first time 10, 20, but second time is nothing but what? 10 followed by 999 itself is the answer. Are you getting that? End condition. 10, 20, 10 followed by 999 itself is the answer by default we got. Any explanation is required? Okay, this make sure better to take this diagram, this program. Take the program from the screen. Class cat int j. Next, cat of int j. This dot j is equal to j. Class dog implements clonable. Next, cat c int I. Completed, right? Take clearly. Class dog implements clonable. Cat c int I. So here in this example we are depending on object class clone method, which is meant for shallow cloning. Completed, right? Clear, I hope. Completed. After taking, better to take snap. Complete including end conditions also. And the diagram compulsory you have to take. This is the diagram just beside the code you can take. And outputs first time 1020, but last 10 followed by 999. 10 followed by 999, like we have. Completed, right? This is about shallow cloning, what we have. Shallow cloning. Completed, right? That's all. This is what you people should aware. Shallow cloning, like. Now you are the theory. Yeah. Have you took the diagram also, right? Next up. In shallow cloning, by using cloned object reference, by using cloned object reference, if we perform any change, to the contained object, then those changes will be reflected. Those changes will be reflected to the main object. Those changes will be reflected to the main object. Those changes will be reflected to the main object. Those changes will be reflected to the main object. Those changes will be reflected to the main object. Okay. So next step. To overcome this problem, we should go for deep cloning. Okay. Clear for all of you, right? Okay, this same. Now the next terminology. Take very special care about this word. Sir, here in deep cloning, who is the responsible to implement? Programmer responsible. Next, in deep cloning, even for the contained object, duplicate copy by default will be created. Keep supporting deep cloning. Deep cloning. Deep cloning. That the process of creating exactly duplicate independent copy. The process of creating exactly duplicate independent copy. Exactly duplicate independent copy. Independent copy. The process of creating exactly duplicate independent copy, including cloned object, including contained object, including contained object, including contained object. The process of creating exactly duplicate independent copy, including contained object, including contained object is called deep cloning. Is called deep cloning. Deep cloning is called deep cloning. Next up, in deep cloning, next para, in deep cloning, if the main object contain, in deep cloning, if the main object contain any primitive variables, if the main object contain any primitive variables, then if the main object contain any primitive variables, then in the cloned object, duplicate copies will be created. In the cloned object, duplicate copies will be created. Duplicate copies will be created. Next up. Duplicate copies will be created. Next up, if the main object contains any reference variable, if the main object contain any reference variable, main object contain any reference variable, then the corresponding contained objects also will be created. Then the corresponding contained objects also will be created. Corresponding contained objects also will be created in the cloned copy. The corresponding contained objects also will be created in the cloned copy. In the cloned copy will be created in the cloned copy. That's all. Completed, right? Okay, this is next. By default, object class clone method meant for shallow cloning or deep cloning? Shallow cloning. I don't want shallow cloning. Are you getting? I don't want shallow cloning. I want deep cloning. Then we have to override clone method, and the programmer is responsible to implement deep cloning, right? Next up, by default, object class clone method. By default, object class clone method meant for object class clone method meant for shallow cloning. Meant for shallow cloning. But we can implement deep cloning explicitly. We can implement deep cloning explicitly by overriding clone method. By overriding clone method in our class. By overriding clone method in our class. By overriding clone method in our class. That's all. Are you able to understand that? Okay, this is. So what is the purpose of cloning? What is deep cloning and what is shallow cloning? Now let me go for a simple example for deep cloning, right? Okay. So now I will explain the program related to deep cloning. Just sir, can you explain deep cloning, how we can perform? Sir, shallow cloning is very easy. Just we are calling what? Object class clone method. But in deep cloning, who is the responsible to implement? Programmer is responsible. That's why compulsory we should aware. Okay. Now let me go for ERC. Sir, class cat int j. So cat of int j, this dot j is equal to j, like we have. Class of is nothing but like we have. Okay. So this is the cat class. No difference. Same as previous example only. Much there is no much difference, right? Now observe. Sir, class dog implements what? Clonable. Class dog implements clonable. Okay, now cat c comma int I. Cat c comma int I. Now just observe this one. So dog of cat c comma int I. This dot c is equal to c. This dot I is equal to I. Like I'm taking this dot I is equal to I like. Now and then what we have to do? Okay. The next thing is the most valuable, because who is responsible to perform deep cloning? Programmer is responsible. That's why compulsory we should have clear clarity. So it is a public method. Object is the return type. Clone is the method. Throws clone not supported exception. Like here, just I will continue. First, let me create objects and let me initiate cloning process, and then I will go for the remaining coding, right? Okay. Now observe the words well. Here I am taking just have a look once here. See, sir, class. What is this cloning, Anna? Deep cloning demo. Class deep cloning demo. Public static void main. String array args. Okay, string array args. Throws clone not supported exception. Throws clone not supported exception. Now here see, let me create dog object, right? Here I am taking cat. Let me create cat object. Cat c is equal to new cat of 20. And now what is the j value? What is the j value? 20. Next now, dog d1 is equal to new dog of. Dog d1 is equal to new dog of c comma 10 I am taking. C comma 10. So with this we created one dog object. Now we created a dog object. D1 is the reference variable, and I value is nothing but what? 10. And the C we are creating. What is the J value? 20. Up to this we covered, right? Okay, this. Now let me print. If you want, let me print the values of I and J. D1 dot I plus a dot D1 dot C dot J. Can you tell what the answers we are going to get? 10 followed by 20, like we are going to get. Up to this there is no doubt. Sir, now I want to perform cloning. What is the code we have to do? Dog D2 is equal to dog of D1 dot which method? Clone method, right? D1 dot clone. This is, sir, I don't want that bloody object class clone method. Are you getting? I don't want that. I want my own clone. Yes, sir, my own clone. Now our own clone will come. We never going to interact with object class clone method. What I will do now, who is the responsible to create exactly duplicate object? Is nothing but programmer is the responsible. Now this total structure we have to create individually, we have to create manually, then it will become cloning. So first what we have to do? Create a dog object, cat object, and then create a dog object. Now let me create cat object first. Sir, what is the code we have to take? Cat c1 is equal to, or cat c, anything, cat c1 is equal to new cat of. Sir, on this object we are calling clone method. So current object contain one c variable. This c point into this j value. So with which j value you want to create dog object? With this j value. That's why cat c1 is equal to new cat of current object contains c dot j. C dot j is nothing but, what is the value of c dot j? Is nothing but 20. Oh, cat object got created with the 20 value. Now what I have to do? Create dog object, dog d2, or any name you can give. No, dog d also you can. Dog d2 is equal to new dog of c1. Dog d2 is equal to new dog of c1. Sir, cat object. and on this object we are calling clone method. This current object contain I value. I don't know what is the I value. With whatever I value is there with that, so just the I. Are you getting? I created cat object. With that I created dog object. Now return this D there. Are you getting? Return what Anna? D2 like. Okay. Return D2. That's all. End of this method, end of the class, and end of this cat anyway, right? Return D2 like. Now this, so here observe, cat C1, dog D2 is equal. Now, do you know a dog object got created? D2 is the reference variable with I exactly same. C is there with J is equal to 20. Sir, total duplication. I only created manually. Return this D. Now this D I am assigning with D2 is nothing but clear. Now, so is it exactly independent copies got created or not? Yes, exactly. Total independent copy is there. Now my target is D2 dot I. So D2 dot I is equal to 888 I am taking. D2 dot C dot J is equal to 999 I am taking. So D2 dot I, what is the value now? 888. D2 dot I 888. D2 dot C dot J 999. D2 dot C dot J 999 like this I am taking. D2 dot C dot J 999 I am taking. Now let me print system dot out dot println. Okay, let me print system dot out dot println D1 dot I dot D1 dot C dot J is nothing but like. Can you tell what is the output by default we are going to get now? 10 followed by 20. Even though you perform some change to the cloned object, those changes won't be reflected to the main object. If it is the shallow cloning, what output I got? In the shallow cloning, what output I got? 10 999. But here now what output I am getting? 10 20. Because complete duplication by default we got this one is nothing but what? Deep cloning, right? Now deep cloning, who is the responsible to implement? Programmer. Shallow cloning, who is the responsible to implement? Object class clone method. Have you observed the difference, right? In deep cloning, we are creating objects manually based on our requirement, right? Is itself is the deep cloning. Now let me execute, right? Here see. Observe, can you please cross check whether the program is the same or not? Class cat, here say class cat, int j, cat constructor is there, class dog implements clonable, cat c int I, next dog of, cat c int I, this dot c is equal to like. Now public object clone throws clone not supported exception. I am creating cat object. I am creating dog object manually, return D. Okay, that's all. Now cat C dog SOP of D1.I, D1.C.J, creating cloned copy, perform some changes, printing original copy values. Can you tell in both cases what the output we are going to get? 1020 and 1020 only. There is no updated values won't reflect in the main copy, even in the case of contained object change also. Java C, here C. Java C deep cloning dot Java. Next Java deep cloning. Have you observed Java deep cloning? What the answer? 1020 1020. That is what is the deep cloning. Any explanation is required now? Okay, take this example anyway. The most valuable concept. Class cat int j this dot j is equal to j. Take clearly the program. Cat of int j, this dot j is equal to j. Take clearly even end conditions also. Observe careful. Class dog implements clonable, cat C int I, dog of cat C comma int I, dog of cat C comma int I. This dot C is equal to C, this dot I is equal to I. Next, public object clone throws clone not supported exception. Public object clone throws clone not supported exception, right? Completed, right? Take clearly. Public object clone throws clone not supported exception. Cat C1 is equal to new cat of C dot J. And then take deep cloning class. Completed, right? Shallow cloning, deep cloning. Shallow cloning and deep cloning, like completed for you people. Completed, right? The program. And after that, compulsory you have to take the diagram. First take snap of total, and then compulsory you have to take the diagram. Complete and the conditions also compulsory you should, and then the diagram also. Completed, right? Clear, I hope. Completed, right? Now add the theory. By using cloned object reference, cloned object reference, if we perform any change to the contained object, if we perform any change to the contained object, to the contained object, if we perform any change to the contained object, then those changes won't be reflected, those changes won't be reflected to the main object. Those changes won't be reflected to the main object, to the main object. Those changes won't be reflected to the main object, to the main object, to the main object. Is it clear, right? Okay. So if we perform any change to the contained object, those changes won't be reflected to the main object, right? Okay, that's all. This is what is deep cloning and what is shallow cloning, right? Now my question is, which cloning is the best? Shallow cloning is the best? Ayyo, shallow or deep? R depends. Oh, slowly the people are thinking. R depends. Highly recommended to go for deep cloning or shallow cloning, or depends. Okay, so here make sure you should be aware, going for deep cloning always is not good programming practice. If deep cloning is always required, then why object class clone method some people provided? So do you know how many people are going for deep cloning? Very rare. Are you getting? Always we are run the show with object class clone method only. Okay, that depends on situation. We have to choose. If our object contain only primitive variables, then is it required to go for deep cloning? Shallow cloning can run the show. If the object contain reference variable, then we should go for what? Deep cloning. So based on our situation, based on our requirement, we have to choose either deep cloning or shallow cloning. Simple thumb rule. If the object contain only primitive variable, recommended to go for what? Shallow cloning. We are not required to take any risk. My object class clone method can perform my required thing, right? Okay, this is. But if the object contain reference variable, then which cloning is the best? Compulsory we should go for deep cloning. We have to write explicitly the code for that. Okay, add. So keep summing. Which cloning is best? 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 Here the point. If object contains only primitive variables, if object contain only primitive variables, only primitive variables, then if object contains only primitive variables, then object contains only primitive variables, then shallow cloning is the best choice. 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 Next para. If object contains reference variables, if object contains reference variables, if object contains reference variables, then deep cloning is the best choice. Then deep cloning is the best choice. Deep cloning is the best choice. Deep cloning is the best choice. That's all. Are you able to understand, right? So what is cloning? What is the purpose of cloning? How you can perform cloning? How many types of cloning is there? Shallow and deep. What is the difference between these? It's nothing but most valuable worthy concept. Most of the people don't know about this concept, but you people should have clarity. Are you getting?